Parallel arrays are multiple arrays that are aligned together by their index numbers. They are correlated and relate to one another, sort of like fields in a database. I have here student being declared as a string array with elements 0 to 4, age as an integer array, again elements 0 to 4, and full-time as a Boolean array with elements 0 to 4. And we could populate those. So element 3 of my student is Cody, and Cody's age is 18, age element 3, and Cody is a full-time student, which is element 3 of full-time. So we can use that together in code. I can dim I as an integer equals 2 in this case, and then have status as a ternary expression is if full-time element I, in this case element 2, is true, it's going to be is, otherwise it is not. And then my LBL output.text is an interpolated string of student element I, is age element I, years old, and whatever the value of status is, a full-time student. So the output would, in this case, be Sandy is 27 years old and is a full-time student. We would generally tend to use parallel arrays if we have different data types, but they don't have to be. I could have parallel arrays that are all string or all integers, but we'll see down the road a multi-dimensional array that kind of is probably a better use than parallel arrays. So parallel arrays are most often used when we have different data types. Let's take a look at an example of how we might use this. I have an application here that shows the 8 principal players at the gunfight at the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona on October 26, 1881. And we can click on each name and see who the person was, their birth and death dates, what their status was as a result of being in the gunfight, and then a little bio about them. So there's Wyatt Earp, Morgan Earp, Doc Holliday. On the other side we have Billy Clanton, Ike Clanton, Frank McClure, and Tom McClure. The information is coming here as far as the name, the birth and the death, their status, and the bio is coming from parallel arrays. Let's take a look at the project. I have 8 labels here named LBL and the initials of the person. So VE is Virgil Earp, LBLWE is Wyatt Earp, and so forth. So I have those 8 labels. Those are all using the same handler when I click to display the information. We have LBL name, LBL dates, LBL fate, and LBL story. I created a resource file that contains 8 strings. So this is going to be the bios for each person, a little bit longer than I want to put in code. So I put them in a resource, and the bios are simply named last name and first initial. My code then is I have 5 arrays that I've set up. Gunfighter is a string, which is the name of the person. Birth is a date object. Remember, we use hashtags or pound signs as bookends of each date or surrounding each date. Same with the death is also a date array. Bio is a string array, and it equals the name of my string resource. And then fate is their status as a string as a result of the gunfight. Show info is handling those 8 different labels being clicked. I have a method called clear highlights that simply sets the colors back of each of those 8 different labels. Honeydew on the left and Misty Rose on the right. Sender.backColor, so whichever label they click, I'm going to set it to yellow so it's highlighting the character and their position on the screen. I'm going to dim IDX. It's an integer. It's going to take sender.text, convert that to an integer, and subtract 1. I want to subtract 1 because for the user, I labeled those 1 through 8, but remember our arrays start counting with 0. They're 0 through 7, so that's why I subtract 1. LBL name.text equals gunfighter element IDX. LBO_dates.text equals the birth array element IDX dot to short date string. I concatenate a little space hyphen space, and then the death element IDX also converted to a short date string. LBO fate.text equals fate element IDX, and LBO fate.forecolor is going to be red if they were killed in the gunfight. So I use a ternary expression there. And then finally, LBL story equals my.resources. My resource is named OK Corral, so my.resources.okcorral.resource manager. I'm going to get the string of bio element IDX. So for Wyatt Earp, that'd be ERPW. For Doc Holiday, it's simply holiday. If you just jumped into this video, you can see all the videos from the Programming Practicum playlist by clicking on the image in the lower right. And if you'd like to be alerted to future videos I create, you can click my picture in the top right to subscribe to the channel.